You might be wondering, is it possible to optimize my finances without putting too much effort in it? And the answer is yes, you can. There are a few smart strategies you can do to easily optimize your finances and at the same time save tons of money. So in today's video, we'll be going over some easy strategies that might only take about 5 minutes a week for you to optimize your finances and save money. Hey there, welcome to Venture with Jazzy. On this channel, I talk about personal finance. If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. So the first thing you can do is to automate your money. So one of the easiest ways to start optimizing your finances is to start automating your savings. So you can start by setting up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings or retirement accounts. In this way, you'll start saving money without even thinking about it, and it's like putting your money on autopilot. So some things you can start automating can include activating autopay on your credit cards. So this one is maybe an obvious one for some, but for me, I actually just recently started to enable autopay on my credit cards. So before, I was actually going into my bank apps and just manually paying my bills every single day. Now, at least I didn't miss any deadlines, but this was kind of a risky choice of mine. So when you activate autopay, this does act as a net for those times when you might forget to pay your bills. So in addition to this, there is also another reason why I decided to activate autopay. And the reason is every single time when I was paying my credit card bills, I was doing this every day. And so every time there was that statement closing date, I had a zero balance on my credit line. Now, what's so bad about this? Well, it's not really bad. It's not exactly improving your credit score as well as keeping like a 5 to 10% balance on your credit line. So when you have some money on your credit line on this statement due date, that is the date that your credit card will send information to the 3 credit bureaus, and then they will kind of determine certain things like how much credit line you're utilizing and so on. So this is one of the big reasons why I decided to activate autopay, so then I can have just some balance on my credit card and then my credit score can grow even more. Another area to start automating money transfers is into important accounts such as your retirement accounts. So your Roth IRAs, 401ks, or whatever accounts you have, it's a good idea to start making these transfers so then you don't have to remember to do it yourself. So for instance, every month I have been transferring $541 into my Roth IRA. Now I know this kind of is a little bit of a random number, but actually it's not. So starting last year, we are allowed to make up to a $6,500 contribution into our Roth IRA every year. So that's why $6,500 divided by 12, that equals $541.66. So that's how I came to this number. So you might be wondering, why do I automate a monthly transfer versus just putting a huge lump sum at the beginning or end of the year? Well, that's totally fine to put a lump sum at the beginning of the year. I am personally using the dollar cost averaging investment strategy. So for example, if I were to put $6,500 at the beginning of the year, and then every month, let's say I'm buying $500 worth of stocks, then the rest of that money is going to be sitting in that account until it's actually going to be put into stocks. So it's not really good for your money to just be sitting, because there's things like inflation that will eventually devalue your money, and that's why you want to make sure that your money is not just sitting in your account. Anyway, that is my investment strategy, and if you're interested, I did make a video on how I got started in investing, so you can watch it here. Number 2 is to review your subscriptions. Now, reviewing our subscriptions, a lot of us might have a Netflix, a gym membership, or even something like a coffee subscription. There's so many of these nowadays that you might not really have a handle of what you're purchasing every month. And that's why it's good to often take a look at these subscriptions and kind of think to yourself if you're actually using them to their full potential. And then another thing about subscriptions is there's the possibility that there's a competitor out there that might be better, or you can just reevaluate if you can somehow get a better discount. So to talk about my experience, last year my husband and I, we used to get monthly coffee bean subscriptions, and that costed us about $70 every month, which is kind of pricey if you think about it. So after looking around our area, we found that there was a local coffee bean roasting place that made fresh beans. The people there were very kind, very knowledgeable, and we found that this was a better option than getting a coffee bean subscription. And it was also cheaper, and to know the people that we're interacting with was really nice too. By the way, if you are in Dallas, the name of this place is Addison Coffee. We really like their beans there, so you can go and check it out. Number 3 is you can run comparisons. So whenever you're making any purchases online, especially big purchases like electronics or furniture, you can be scouting out to see if there's any discounts, because a lot of times this one website is not the only website selling this particular item. So one of the easy ways that you can do this is you can search on Google Shopping. So for instance, I really like this mouse, which is the MX Master 3 Logitech mouse. So if I were to search on Logitech, probably this mouse doesn't have as big of a sale. But if you go on Google Shopping, sometimes it displays all of the places that sell this particular item and has the biggest sales, and that's a really good indication to find where to buy this item. And then there are other ways where you can compare. So I really like to use these Google extensions, particularly Honey or Capital One Shopping. So these two extensions, they really like to kind of scour the internet for some promo codes, and a lot of times they are really effective and can save me like $5 to $10 on what I'm buying. And then if they don't find a promo code, then a lot of times they do offer cash back, which is pretty cool as well. And then finally, there's also other things that you can do to save money on these purchases, which is to use a credit card. So a lot of you probably know that a lot of credit cards, they have certain points for certain categories, like 5 times the points on travel, 2 times the points on shopping, stuff like that. However, you can dig a little deeper and possibly find even more discounts on these credit cards. So for instance, one of my favorite cards that I'm liking so far is the Capital One Venture X card. I like this credit card because they have a lot more cashback offers compared to other credit cards that I've seen. So for instance, if you go into the mobile app, they will have just a bunch of offers that you can activate, and they range from one of the most random stores like Burt's Bees or even Everlane. So it's these little places that you didn't even think would be specialized in getting cash back. So you can dig deeper into your credit cards and possibly find more savings. Number 4 is to prepare for the worst case scenarios. Worst case scenarios are part of our life as human beings, and that's why we need to actually put money aside to save for these scenarios. So one book that I was recently reading is The Psychology of Money, and I really like the author and how he explains things about money, how to become a millionaire, and so on. But one thing that he always stressed is that you don't always need to save money for something. So a lot of us, we are thinking, okay, we want to make money because we want to afford a bigger house, a cooler car, or some gadgets. We're always thinking about what we could use our money for. But in this book, it kind of states that you don't always need to be saving money for something. Sometimes you need to save money just to save money, because life always throws curveballs at you. You never know what you're going to have to be buying, because you never know when the next Hurricane Katrina will come, or an earthquake, or even, God forbid, your car gets stolen. So it's these things that you really need to make sure that you have money set aside for. I think one good base point is to at least have an emergency fund if you don't have that already. So save between 3 to 6 months worth of your necessary expenses, like your rent, food, anything that's really necessary for you, and put that into a high yield savings account, so then this cash won't just be sitting there and getting devalued from things like inflation. But besides this emergency fund, it's always good to have even more money just set aside for plans, like if you are going to have a kid, or if you are just trying to retire, you just want to keep saving, because never know what will happen. Number 5 is to shift your mindset. If you're someone who is trying to save money but has a lifestyle of liking to go to restaurants every day, getting a daily Starbucks and more, well, it's going to be a big thing to all of a sudden completely stop these habits and make this change. Because as human beings, we're kind of built on running on habits. So if we're used to doing one thing, it's kind of hard to make that change. And if you make so many change all of a sudden, then that could either make you hate life or you don't know how to live and so on. And that's why I stress that it's okay to make these gradual changes. It takes time to build up healthy spending habits, and you want to take this step-by-step approach to gradually just remove something, tweak it, and then move on and try to optimize your life. So for instance, if you're really trying to save money and you like to go to restaurants every day, and then you also like to go to Starbucks every day, and then you also have a lot of subscriptions. Well, you can start by eliminating one, and then the next month you can eliminate another. Just make some tweaks, gradually cut expenses, and then you'll see yourself saving money, and at the same time, you won't be hating your life. So those are all the tips I have for you today. So let me know in the comments below, what is your way to optimize your finances? And then also, do you have a favorite tip on this list? Please subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye!